I drove around Japan for 2 weeks straight, going into every second-hand shop we could find, looking at some of the rarest retro games and consoles ever made. Over the next couple of months, I'll be taking you guys along the journey with me as we explore this beautiful country and see what insane stuff we can buy. These videos were made entirely possible by Sendico. They're a service which allows you to buy all of the things you love from Japan and ship it all in one box to your door anywhere in the world. But more on them later. This is episode 2. So it was time to head out of the city and start exploring some of Japan's countryside, which not only is absolutely beautiful, but in theory should have some equally beautiful prices on GameBoys. Nagano is a prefecture located in the Chubu region of Japan and has a population of over 2 million people, which should mean some of those people probably bought Game Boys. Let's hope they recently flogged them at hard off. So after driving for several hours into the middle of what seems like absolutely nowhere, we're literally beneath mountains in a small town, there is a hard off, and we're going to go in there and see what we can find. But yeah, look at how amazing this place is. It's just absolutely stunning. Okay, so the first hard off of the day, Countryside Edition. Immediately we're greeted by a boxed Famicom Classic Mini, and there was also a Sega SG-1000 Mark II for $161 or £128, which is a bargain. Let's head to the junk boxes. Immediately, I found some Walkmans and Discmans and a portable TV. The kind of stuff I love. And then onto the junk shelf, a bunch of absolute Bilbo bargains. This boxed Famicom was $16. A nice Neo Geo CD for $120. This Famicom was under $3, for crying out loud. A few stacks of games and a cute RF switch shaped like a Famicom later, and let's get the GoPro out. So for me, this is heavenly. I found a portable CD player immediately, and in the box next to it, I found the fish pocket sonar for the WonderSwan. Unfortunately, it was covered in corrosion, but if you needed some spare parts, or it's also just super rare. There was loads of little portable speakers which were really cool, and a bunch of epic cameras, which made for a pretty cool picture. I found this really cool Polaroid camera too. These boxes are just Christmas. I strongly suggest the UK gets something like this immediately, please. This one had a few games lying around in it. Nothing of much interest, but you know, they're practically giving them away. Here's a cute little Pokemon DS game holder and a GBA battery charger. I found this really awesome little Sony cassette recorder. It wasn't a lot, but it was faulty, and it's anyone's guess as to what's wrong with it. And then a really early cassette recorder by Sony. It was either this one or a similar one, but it was used on one of NASA's space missions. Now, this is what we want. Game Boy Pockets for a reasonable price. Here's a few cheap boxed accessories which are lovely, and then I found a thing of dreams. A chocolate-shaped DS cartridge holder. Why? Because Japan. Here's one last look around some of the faulty shelves. Look at those prices. There were so many boxed consoles for so cheap, it was actually insane. For those interested, here's a few cool little cameras. I use a Yashica GSN, so it was nice to see one of its family members lying around. Here's a cute little Pokemon Tamagotchi type thing. I actually have one of these and I really need to make a video on it at some point. So we're finished in this hard off, and the one thing I bought was 110 yen. and it's a small chocolate DS game holder, which is really cool. But we're gonna go to another couple of hard-offs in this area. Let's go. Food time. Now it's time to head down into the city area, where we will find another couple of hard-offs. Let's see what they've got. This second one didn't have loads of cool things, but if you remember that expensive GBA from Tokyo in the first vlog, here's one for quite literally half the price. There's a nice cheap green WonderSwan and a few cheap DSIs. In these little junk boxes, I found a beautiful clear blue Dreamcast controller, a GameBoy N64 controller adapter, and a couple of cool DS accessories. This copy of Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo was a few dollars. I also found this awesome classic IBM keyboard. These are worth a ton of money. Here's a boxed Wii for under $20. Honestly, if I had more time, I would have loved to just come in here with some headphones and a coffee and wade through every single one of these games. But this was definitely more of a hardware trip because we were on such a tight schedule. After all, we're here to buy the GameBoys. Onwards! We are arriving at the third and final hard-off for the day, and I'm going to buy whatever Game Boy is in there. It could be a few thousand yen, it could be tens of thousands, whichever one it is, I will buy it. With that ludicrous challenge in mind, let's go. Let's see what they've got. Walking in, I head straight to the junk section and look at some more cool cameras. Here's a really cool Club Nintendo Golden Wii steering wheel. Within moments, I found the stacks of cheap faulty consoles and more epic buckets of cheap tech. This shop had a bucket filled with DS consoles, most of which didn't read games or had a slight screen issue, both super easy repairs. Look at this stunning green DSi XL. Let's head over to the cabinet. Here's a GBA SP for 70 bucks, which is kind of expensive, but also not a bad price compared to eBay. They also had a Game Boy Micro for $100. Not too shabby, especially considering it's a Japanese exclusive baby blue color. And then I struck gold. Over to the corner of the shop, I found a junk box which had a Game Boy camera and a boxed printer for 3,300 yen. That's $24. I didn't even need to think about it. Here's a faulty PSP for under a tenner, and here's a working one with a faulty battery for just over $30. And it's the boxed special pack. Yup. The cabinet also had a few cool things which I took a look at. Can you guess what I bought? And that concludes day 3. We had spent the night in an onsen town because there's a nearby place we had to check out before heading to the Sendico warehouse to find my Game Boy parcels. This place was magical, and you'll soon see why. Here, the monkeys roam amongst the humans. A mutual understanding of a constant food supply in return for some shit selfies. It of course has to be said, while the baby monkeys are utterly adorable, watch where you're walking, because they come out of bloody nowhere beneath your feet and you could quite easily biff one off the bridge. So we've been driving all day and we're heading to the actual Sendico warehouse right now. I've bought a bunch of Game Boys that have been sat in the warehouse for a little while, so hopefully going to get shown where those are. Maybe I can pick up a few and sneak them into my pocket. But yeah, really excited. Let's head to Sendico. Driving on these roads truly never got old throughout this entire trip. These roads cut through mountains via tunnels, and honestly, every single sight was breathtaking. Right in front of me is Sendico. After all of these years, I've flown to Japan and stuff that I've ordered is in there. What? There it was, the Sendico warehouse. They're actually about to move location and expand because we keep buying so many bloody Game Boys. So I'm in the arrivals room, and this is literally rows and rows of shelves where parcels that people have ordered into Sendico come in. So in here somewhere is some of my parcels. Let's try and find them. Looking through the shelves, it blew my mind how many Game Boys and retro gaming items people have ordered. Imagine what cool things are on these shelves. After searching high and low, I got Alex, the founder of Sendico, to come give me a hand looking. Alex reached out to me years ago about bringing me to Japan, and finally, the time was here. We had so much fun on this trip, and I am so grateful for everything that he did. Sendico have truly changed my life, and without them, this channel wouldn't feature even half of the incredible items I've reviewed. If you want to buy some cool retro tech from Japan, please check out the website in the description below. That is it for this episode, but stick around for the next one because it's juicy. Subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell notification to keep up to date with the next releases. I'll see you all soon.